I also want to add that I feel like the victim mentality is also taught to us because as Black women, we're taught survival mode. Like, we're not taught how to maneuver in relationships with a man, we're taught to maneuver in relationships without. So that instantly makes you have that victim mentality. Like, I'm surviving, I'm a victim. So that is something that is taught to me. I know, like, as a kid, I had a father, but he taught me how to survive without a man. He didn't teach me how to be with a man. He taught me how to go without. So
Mhm.
that was another mentality that I was in, like, oh, I'm a strong, independent Black woman. I don't need a man. I went through that phase too because it was taught to me. It was all about survival. But no one taught me how to be with a man. So I feel like Black women collectively, this is something that we struggle with, and it creates a victim mentality. And
All right, so what do y'all think about that clip right there?
I feel sorry for the sister because she talked about how her father taught her how to be independent. Your mom is supposed to show you how to be with a man. Your father is supposed to show you how, well, speaking for myself, how to know your worth and what you deserve. So that's why it's hard being from different communities and not having a mother and a father in the home
Facts.
because of things like this. And
Mhm.
then you pick up that victim mentality off of what you were taught. So her dad probably taught her a little wrong, or she misinterpreted what he said. Because a man, a father figure, uncle figure, any man in your family is supposed to teach you how to know your worth as a woman and respect yourself. Your mother is supposed to show you you need this because of what she does for your
And
father.
and
The
I
feminine
get
traits.
what you're saying, but the word you keep using is like you're not. She talking about a relationship. Knowing your worth, that's not knowing how to maneuver in a relationship. Like
Or
you
how
get
to
what I'm
treat a
saying, like
man.
or how to treat a man.
And that's why I say her mother, from what she see her mother do for her father, is how she's supposed to learn. I do this for your father. This is how I support him. And this is why I support him because look how he treats me.
Mm.
And when you grow up in a two family home, either if it's grandparents or mother, father, whatever, you see these things happen, you pay attention. But if you don't and your parents are separated and you have to go over there with your father, yeah, he's going to teach you certain things, but she's supposed to take certain things from that. And I think she took whatever. I don't know. I can't
Mm.
really speak on her, but from what she sound like, he was probably trying to show her stuff and it just made her more independent. And that's how she picked up the victim mentality. Because I think that's the whole overall of the clip is that victim mentality. But you have to learn and watch your parents. But if you come from inner city communities, you don't really come from a two family home. That's not really something. I grew up in the well, I was born in the 80s. I grew up in the 90s. That really wasn't what we were around. That wasn't my community. There's a
Mhm.
lot of single mothers picking up the groceries. You understand? Wasn't no uncles around. They were in jail with selling drugs. So it's all how you grow up in that two family household. Your mother's gonna show you this is what I do for your father. His laundry is done. You know, I pay the bills. You understand? It's his
Re-
money, but I pay the bills.
Realistically speaking, with you saying that there's not two family homes, what do you think that these
Not too
mother?
many.
Well, yeah, not too many. What do you think these mothers are now teaching their daughters rather than because they don't have the man there? So now this message is misconstrued to
They teach
mostly men ain't shit
right.
mentality,
And I don't need a man for nothing.
And that's
and
where
that's what
she
she
got
had. Yeah,
that independent mentality from. There's no way. So I don't want to say she full of shit. Excuse me, can I
no, I
curse?
mean, yeah, you could.
She's
Yeah,
Okay.
you
not.
could.
I don't
No,
want to
Yeah.
she's
say
definitely
that, but
not.
yeah, I
Mm.
don't
No,
want to say that
I just
because
I'm sorry.
no, it's all right.
I just want to be careful to not call that a victim mentality because there's a lot of things that she also mentioned within the Black community, especially in the Black male community at play here that we just can't ignore.
Speak on it.
Like the prison pipeline, the mass incarceration, the murder rate amongst Black males. We can spend a decade talking about all the issues that plague the Black community. So I think it's more so like a protection thing. It's like, you know, a lot of Black women have to be conditioned to grow up without a man or to be alone as a way to protect them, saying, okay, in my absence as your parent, as your guardian, I have to know that you'll be able to take care of yourself, because based on the things that plague our community, we don't have any reasonable expectation to believe that you're going to possibly find a mate that can build that solid foundation for you. So I don't think it's a victim mentality. I mean, obviously the fallout of that would be for women to have this hyper independence, which we do have in the Black female community, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing all the time, because it's necessary.
I mean, it's
in a
great
lot of
when you're by
cases.
yourself. It's
Yeah.
not great in a relationship.
It's
Everything
not,
is about balance.
Oh,
right.
You gotta,
But
you gotta
there's
give
no
and
way
take.
your
You gotta,
independence. It's great for your spouse or your significant other to know that you can be independent when I'm not around.
Right.
But nobody wants to get that
Yeah,
same.
you can't be in a partnership or a unionship and always bragging that you're independent. Like, that was cool when you were solo, and I feel like
even when I'm not around.
Yeah, but I'm
when
not
you go to work,
directly. I'm not relating the two. But since, like, once you have the rise of the strong, independent, I don't need a man, woman. What do you start to see? Like, we got more single parents, but less marriages. I mean, the stats will show you Black women are not getting married. Like,
but that's
But
not
there's
the
a
cause.
reason
But
for
that's not the
that.
cause because of
why is
that.
that the call?
It's
Y'all
because
pushing
men
y'all.
are not doing what they're supposed to do.
Cool. Yeah, but y'all are
Ouch.
pushing at the same time. Y'all pushing the men away. So y'all can't complain. At one point, you can't complain and always brag how you don't need a man. And then when that man gets married by the Beckys or the Lisas, y'all can't then say, "Oh well, y'all not marrying Black women. Y'all pushing us away."
We want
Yeah,
Black
but
men.
you
But
We
stop
want a
pushing
man.
us
We don't
away
need
then.
one. We want one.
Cool, but then other women. But the thing is, these other women are not telling Black men that. You
We're
get
not
what I'm
telling
because
saying?
them
they don't
either.
have our experiences. We need to caution
We're not telling
ourselves
them either.
against, like, comparing ourselves to other communities, because other communities do not have our experiences.
Right.
White women do not have our experiences. Indian women, Asian women, they do not have our experiences as Black women living in the Black community. So to directly compare us, which I don't even think is fair to directly compare Black men to white men, because you'll see a lot of women and be like, well, white men don't do this and white men don't do that.
We're already
But
getting compared to what your mother and your father's been through. Like that
they're
man,
Black.
as a Black man, I'm already your father, what your father was to your mother. So if you grew up in a household with a father, most likely you're gonna have that respect for men because you had that man in there.
But
But
I'm
if you don't, I'm already tainted.
But I'm talking about
I'm coming in at a
comparing
disadvantage.
from race to race. I'm not talking about comparing your partner to your family member or your friend or whoever you're comparing to. I'm talking about comparing the Black experience to the experiences of other races. It is not the same, and I don't really think that it's fair to compare Black men or women to white people, because they are. It's different. It's complete. I don't really have to go through the reasons of why.
But I
it's so
think what he
different,
was
but it
saying
is.
was basically us being Black women being so independent and pushing a Black man away. He goes to another race of woman to date and be with, because she's not gonna be as independent as us. I think that's along
Yeah,
the
exactly.
line
I don't know.
But that's
I
an
totally
excuse to
disagree.
me.
But what I think it is like, because they even like trailer trash, Indian trash, Black trash, it's all the same. We just are not familiar with other cultural communities, ghettos, if you want to call it. We don't know. All white people are not held to a certain stature. All Indian people, Asian people, they have ghettos too. We're just not familiar with what they go through. They more so familiar with us, because that's another topic. I'm not about to
I don't
get
know.
into.
I was raised in a two-parent
Balance.
household.
So
my parents were
balance.
married. My grandparents was married till death did them part.
Mm.
So from my experience, I'm independent because I have to, not because I want to be. Do I want a man? Yes, I want a man, but no one's been.
Independent. That's just called being.
No one's
That's called being
doing
an adult, though. Like,
Worthy.
Yeah, I'm just doing.
I'm independent as
adult
well,
stuff.
but I'm not going
Exactly.
to constantly brag to you. Imagine you on a date. I keep telling you, yo, I'm strong, independent. I don't need no woman. I
Yeah,
gotta
that's it.
constantly
Yeah.
reassure you that I don't need a woman. How would that make you feel?
Exactly.
How would that
No,
make
I
you? How would that
understand
make you feel?
Yeah.
Don't come.
But I don't think
I mean,
women
I don't.
do that
I've
though.
never.
Do they?
don't
I've
think
never
women do
done
that?
that,
Not
and
a
I don't
lot.
know any
Some.
woman that has sat on a date and be like, I don't need a
Yeah.
man. Like, that's kind of far
But
fetched.
You've had that?
This
You've
what
had,
I'm
You've
here
had that
for.
experience?
You really? I've never
I've been
had.
in
I've
relationships
never.
with women and they say I don't need a man. I'm with them.
Yeah, so
But
I'm
that's
like, God
because you
damn it.
probably did something to make her upset.
When I'm upset,
Right.
you never hear a man ever in your life say, I don't need a woman. We love women.
No, y'all
When
don't.
did you ever hear that?
I like
When did
y'all
you ever hear
boys.
that?
We might say.
Whoa.
What you
See
say?
how he tried to.
She said.
Y'all show it by your actions. We might say it by our words, but our actions say that we need and we want you.
We long for
Men
y'all. Come on.
show
You
it
do?
by their y'all actions say y'all don't need us. Y'all
Alright.
words will never say what y'all
Alright, but
actions
Y'all
say.
treat us
Would y'all-
disposably.
Would
like,
y'all agree?
yes.
Would y'all agree that there's relationship behavior and behavior that shouldn't be brought into a relationship?
Of course.
All right. So on that list, why is that attitude not in the relationship behavior? Like, why do you feel like it's necessary to bring that in a relationship?
It's
I
not
don't feel
necessary.
like it's
It's not.
necessary.
What a lot of women do.
I don't know.
I
You gotta ask
can't-
them. I don't think it's necessary. You got
But
to
but okay, y'all can answer this one.
For a woman.
Y'all
But we're
can
talking
answer this,
about
right?
the symptoms.
I love black men, and we long for black men. And
The term
but do I
I'm
need one?
strong,
No.
I'm strong, independent, and don't need no man is synonymous with what ethnic group of women?
African
Okay,
American
but we
black
have a
sisters.
different experience, and I think that we're talking about the symptoms and not really attacking the disease here. The reason why women feel that, why Black women feel that we have to be hyper independent. That if once we get rid of those situations, which it'll take decades. I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
In our
it might-
generation,
it would
there's
take
so many.
Yeah.
lifetime.
But
Yeah.
there's so many things that cause that attitude within us.
That's fair.
So it's like we keep talking, like I said, about the symptom, but we're not attacking the disease. How about we talk about the disease and say, all right, what are the reasons that you women feel that you have to be hyper independent? What's making you feel like you don't need a man?
Right.
And let's have that conversation and then get to changing the behavior because there's pathology behind it.
Right.
And we can't ignore that.
So we're going to talk about solutions later on in the show. But Arthur, can you play the second clip for me?